Hey everyone, it's Mike from Lifestyle Boudoir. Today's video is a bit of a milestone for me. It's actually a collaboration with Retouch for me, and that's what we're going to talk about and demonstrate in just a minute. Now, I've personally used these filters for over a year and a half in my post-session workflow, and it's one that I have yet to see anyone else discuss. It's about polishing your images before the sales process. Now, even though Retouch for Me has sponsored this video, they have not given me any guidelines, and they're saying it for the first time right now, just like you are. I'm sure you'll see the value in this workflow that I've been using, and if so, and you choose, after watching this video, to get these plug-in filters for yourself, Retouch for Me has supplied a link that gets you a very generous 20% discount, and of course, we get a small part of that sale to support the channel. You'll find that link in the description below. I think you'll quickly see what an asset these filters are, and later in the video, I'm going to tell you how to make more money using them. So please stick around for the whole process. So let's get into it. Today I'm going to show you just some of the many AI-powered filters Retouch for Me offers, but specifically the ones I use most often and how you can use them to boost efficiency and in the long run, make more money in sales. I do want you to know that I actually use these filters every day for every session and have for over a year and a half now. So when Retouch for Me contacted me, I had zero reservations in making this video. Now, I had already purchased my first 3 filters back in February of 2022. But once I agreed to make this video, they opened up a few more filters for me to try out as well. Still, I don't own all the filters they offer, and that's because I wouldn't likely use all of them in my workflow. But if they work for you, I promise you'll love the time they save and how good they'll make you look to your clients. Now, before you use any of these filters, it's best to do whatever raw processing, color, contrast, brightness, and adjustments you'd normally do, then export your images to a folder. Since this isn't a Lightroom or Capture One tutorial, we'll skip that part, so just assume that every photo you'll see has already gone through the raw processing. First, I'm going to show you how to use a few of the apps that are brand new to me. By the way, just to clarify, you'll hear me use the words filters and apps pretty interchangeably throughout this video. Yes, they're found in the filter menu in Photoshop, but I've always thought of them as so much more than just filters, so sometimes I'll call them apps. So now for the first segment. If you're someone that shoots on seamless paper, you know that these backgrounds can get really dirty, lots of scuffs and smudges on them, and it's just kind of a pain to clean them up. Clean Backdrop is the filter that can fix that for you. Let's have a look. Okay, within Photoshop, I'm going to first open some photos by going File, Open. I will select these first 2 photos, click Open. The first of these 2 photos is a subject on a white background. It looks pretty clean, and you know, if you're somebody who shoots a lot of fashion or you use white seamless paper, you know how dirty that gets and how quickly that happens. And if you want to save some money and not spend so much by cutting that paper off and throwing it away, the first of these apps I'm going to show you is called Clean Backdrop. Now, when we look closely at this photo, we zoom in on it, you can see there's a number of little smudges on it that, you know, I could clone out or, you know, use the remove tool or something like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this Clean Backdrop app from Retouch for Me. So first thing I'm going to do is duplicate the background by dragging it onto the little plus sign here. We'll rename it Clean Backdrop. And we're going to work on this layer. Click Filter, Retouch for Me, and go directly to Clean Backdrop. It takes just a few seconds to analyze the image and retouch the smudges. Now you can't see it because it's kind of small, but when I zoom in on it, there's that corner and the smudges are gone. Now, if I drop this down, you can see the smudges come back. I'm just going to click apply. And now that layer, let's go to that corner. Turn it off. You can see the smudges. Turn it back on. They're gone. So it's just a really quick and simple way to retouch your background, especially, like I said, seamless paper. You know, you can love it, but you got to keep buying it. So this is just going to speed up your process and save you some money. You don't have to clone it out. Really simple. So that is the Clean Backdrop app. Now, before we get to the exciting parts, we'll use two other filters that are brand new to me that I found very useful. They're called Mattifier and Skin Tone. It's always amazing to me how the AI can analyze the images and find and correct where there's sweat, shine, and redness on a person's skin. Okay, now we're going to get into some of the wonderful portrait retouching aspects of Retouch for Me. The first thing I want to do is show you an app called Mattifier. Now, if you look closely at this photo, you can see there's a good bit of shine on the nose and forehead. Now, you could use, say, frequency separation or something like that to retouch that out. But it takes a little bit more time and patience. First thing we're going to do, like before, is duplicate the background. This one we'll call Mattifier. Filter, Retouch for Me, Mattifier. It'll take a second to analyze the image. And let's make the window a little bit bigger. You see, I have it at 50%. If I go original, you can see the shine is much stronger. Let's blow it up a little bit more. Okay, so 50%, 100% gets rid of it completely, which looks a little bit flat. And again, here is 0 where you see all the shine. I'm just gonna go back to that 50%. It looked really good to me. Again, original, I'll click on the original. It shows you the shine. And I'm gonna go make mask. This is gonna make it a mask that you can alter later. It's not always necessary to do that, but I'm gonna do it. Click apply. And it's done. So there's still a little shine there, which gives it dimension. If I turn it off, there's a lot of shine. And that's beautiful. If you did that with frequency separation, it would take a lot longer. So the next thing I want to show you is how to get rid of this redness. So there's some redness right here, and there's some redness here between the brows. What I'm going to do is create a new stamp visible layer, because you want to work on a new layer. So I'm going to go Shift, Option, Command E. On Apple, we'll call this redness. Okay. We're going to go Filter, Retouch for Me, Skin Tone. Again, it's going to go through its processes. Let's blow it up a little. And that's at 100%. Now let me turn off, go back to the original, and you can see the redness on that collarbone and the forehead. And this is just another one of those things that takes much longer to do in Photoshop by hand that this app handles very, very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and make it a soft light layer. Click apply. And here's the soft light layer. You can see all the weird colors on here. This is what it had to do to fix the reds. I'll bring the photo back by going soft light, turn it off. turn it on. Let's zoom in on that collarbone. Turn it off. You can see the red. Turn it on. It's gone. And that's just a super simple way. Just those two apps took out the shine and took out the redness. Made it much cleaner looking. Now the fun stuff is about to happen because I'm going to do a full retouch on it in just a couple minutes using the primary retouch apps in Retouch for Me: Heal, Dodge and Burn, and Portrait Volumes. Okay, we're getting close to the stuff that excites me the most, and how that can be used to boost sales, making you more money and saving you lots of time. This will be done with the original 3 filters that I purchased early in 2022: Heal, Dodge and Burn, and Portrait Volumes. These 3 together will polish your portraits to help increase sales. First, let's take a look at how they work so you can see the potential. Okay, before I get into the rest of the retouching, I'm just going to go ahead and flatten the layers. Make the file a little smaller. So layer, flatten, and so that redness and that shine, the apps that I use for that are committed. We're going to go ahead now and duplicate the layer again. This one we're going to call Heal. And we're going to do just that. So for this, we're going to go Filter, Retouch for Me, Heal. This is always the first one I do when I retouch. Make it a little bit bigger. And right now it's at 100%. Let's zoom in on the photo here. And I'm gonna, as I go backwards, you can see those white dots. Those are all the little blemishes that the software found. For this, I usually go all the way to 100% and just leave it that way. We'll click Make Mask and Apply. And it's done. So turn it off, turn it on. So it found, you know, a few little spots here, 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 you know, and then when we turn it on, they're gone. And it does a really nice job of just finding the little blemishes and getting rid of them. Now we move on to the next one, which is Dodge and Burn. So for this, again, we're going to make a stamp visible layer. Shift, Option, Command, E. We're going to call this Dodge and Burn. Filter, Retouch for Me, Dodge and Burn. Make that bigger. And the Dodge and Burn does a really nice job of further evening out the skin. So if we go all the way up, it's stronger. All the way down, you can see how the changes are happening. This one I usually just leave at 100. You could go to 200 if you want, or anywhere in between. Let's go like 120. I'll click Original. You can see some of the changes that took place. I'm going to make a soft light layer again. Click Apply. And here on the soft light layer, you can see all the highlights and shadows that it worked on to even out the skin tone. To get it back to the photo, we just changed the layer style from normal to soft light. There's the difference. Cool. So the next one we're going to do is another stamp visible layer. And we're going to call this one Volumes. And what this is sort of a stronger, more sculpting version of Dodge and Burn. We'll go Filter, Retouch for Me, Portrait Volumes. Now that's at 100%. Let's move it over. That's 200%. So it really sculpted a lot. But now it's like hyper realism, which to me isn't realism. We'll just stay at 100%. And I'll go original. And you see it does a really nice job of sculpting the face. Again, we'll do soft light layer and apply. And that's what it did with the highlights and shadows to really sculpt the features. To bring the photo back, we just go from normal to soft light. And I'm just going to back off a little bit, and I'm going to turn all the retouched layers off and on. So that's original. That's with all the retouching. One more time. Now it's a really polished looking photograph. Now in my studio, I do in-person sales with a projection system, and they see their photos really big on my big screen TV. And if I showed them the photos right out of camera, they may like them, but they'll be, still having all the blemishes and such. If I were able to show them this finished photograph big on the TV, the chances of selling this photo goes way up. Now, since we have all three of these apps on a separate layer, now I can edit each one of these layers separately if I wanted to do more. So say with the dodge and burn layer, I wanted to do a little bit of a sort of a bottom vignette here to keep all the focus on the face. All I have to do is be in the gradient tool with black and make sure that you're in classic gradient and you're in black to transparent. And then you can drag, I have it at 20%, you can drag from the corner up. Maybe a little on the side here, this side, a little bit more. And there we go, we got a nice little bottom vignette. It goes just a little bit darker down there, maybe on the side. And that's really, really nice. So each one of these layers you can keep editing until you're happy, but it did so much of the work for you with just a couple of clicks.
If you're not familiar with Photoshop Actions, it's a way within Photoshop to record a series of tasks only once, and then the program can repeat those steps for you over and over again just by playing the action. So let's use that same photo, then record an action using the three filters.
So what I'm going to do to start is I have to do all those steps from scratch again, right? So what I'm going to do is Portrait Volumes to Heal. I'm going to select all of those and drag those into the trash. So now it's back to the way it was. Let's just save it. And we're going to start from scratch. Okay, so now we're going to create that action. Okay, let me open the Actions palette. As you can see, I've already created a Retouch for Me video action set. And that's what I made when I was making these videos. But what I want to do is go from scratch and show you step by step how to create an action to do this in a one-click situation to retouch your portrait. So what we're going to do is click on this little box here and go New Set. All right, we're going to call this Retouch for Me. I'm just going to call it New Set for now because I already have these saved as actions. Click OK. Now I got my new set. Now I need to create the action that goes in that set. So again, we click here. We're going to go New Action. Call it whatever you want. Just make sure that it's going in the Retouch for Me New Set or whatever you call that folder. We're going to call it Retouch 3 Apps.
and click record. All right, so right now you can see the little red button is lit here. That means it's gonna record every step that I do from this point on. First thing I'm gonna do is drag this down on the little plus sign to create a background copy. We'll call it, again, heel. Then we're gonna go filter, retouch for me, heel. And it's gonna run the heel. Now, it's still at my last settings, so it's at 100%. The make mask is clicked. I know it's what I want it to be. I'm just gonna click apply, and now the healing layer is there. Now again, I need to make a stamp visible layer. So Shift, Option, Command E, or Shift, Alt, Control E on a PC to create this stamp visible layer. We're gonna call this one Dodge and Burn. And then we're gonna go filter, retouch for me, dodge and burn. Again, it's at my last setting of 120. Soft light layer is checked. I'm just gonna click apply. There's my soft light layer, but we want to change it so we can see. There it is. We're gonna create another stamp visible layer. Shift, Option, Command E. Name this Volumes. And then we're gonna go filter, retouch for me, Portrait Volumes. And it's gonna run the portrait volumes. Again, and it's at 100% soft light layer, the same settings I used when I was demonstrating it earlier. Click apply. There's all the highlights and shadows on the soft light layer. So let's turn it to soft light so we can see. And all three of the apps have been run. So all I have to do now is hit the stop button. It's created. Now to demonstrate it, I'm just gonna take all three of those layers, delete them, and I'm just gonna click on that action that I created and hit play. It'll take about 20 seconds to run all three of the apps, and you'll be ready to go. And there we go. It was one click to make it look like that. I'll show you. Turn off all the layers, turn on all the layers. Beautiful. So that's how you create an action using these apps.
Now, if you're liking this information so far, why not give me a like and subscribe? It really helps out the channel. Unlike some other programs, once you purchase Retouch for Me filters, they are yours to use forever. And you only pay that one time, not yearly. So if by the end of this video, you want to look into getting yourself these super helpful filters, please use the link that Retouch for Me has provided and get yourself a really juicy 20% discount. And you will also support this channel with a small percentage of that sale coming back to me. Now let's talk about how these filters can boost your sales. Many photographers don't do any editing on their photos other than color, brightness, and contrast until a purchase is made. This is how I did it most of my career, until I created this workflow. Let me ask you a question. What if you could sell several more photos per client by pre-touching them? I know several well-known photographers that will cull their images to the ones they think are most saleable, then send all those culled images out to a retouch artist before the client has ever seen them. Of course, they come back looking great, and then it's so much easier to sell the photos. However, this can get very expensive, especially if the client doesn't buy all those images. I mean, if you send out 60 or 70 photos to the retoucher, but the client only buys 20 images, that's a huge waste of money. But if you were to pre-touch all the culled images with just one click, and you don't have to pay a retoucher, you'd save a ton of money. Sorry, retouch artists. Now earlier, I showed you how to do this on one image at a time. But before we get into how to do the whole folder of client photos automatically, let's take a look at one more action you'll need to create to apply it to the whole folder at once.
All right, so there's a little bit of a trick now to getting it ready for batch processing. You actually have to make one more action. So what we're gonna do, you can see here's the action we already created. We're gonna click on that, and then we're gonna go duplicate. Now, we don't wanna call it copy, so we're gonna change the name of it to batch. Expand it so you can see all the layers. So right now, it's a complete duplicate of this previous action. What we're gonna do is add 2 more steps to this. All right, so click on the bottom one, which says set current layer. Click on that, and we're gonna add those new steps. So we have to start recording again. You're on that bottom step, click record, go up layer, flatten. So you see it added flatten to it now. And then we're gonna do one more thing, and that's close the file. So file, save, file, close. All right, and then you stop recording. And that's it. We're done with this photo, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close this one as well. And we're gonna open these 2 photos are from a boudoir session. Let's open them. Let's close that for a second. So you can see, these are both of the same woman from a boudoir session. Now I did crop them in a little bit closer so I don't get any trouble from YouTube showing too much stuff. What we're gonna do is, I'm gonna show you first the Retouch 3 apps, the first one we created. All right, so let's just play that. And it's working, as you can see. And that's done. So let's show you before, after, before, after. Zoom in. Before, after, before, after. I'm going to go to the other photo, and I'm going to show you that on this one as well. Let's click play. And it's going to run through the apps. And there it is. Before, after, before, after. So how do we do that and do it to a whole folder of photos? Well, I'm going to show you.
And now it's time we show you how to apply that action to a whole folder of images at once. So to do this automatically, we will be using batch processing within Photoshop.
Now I'm going to show you how to do a batch process on a folder of photos. As you go File, Automate, Batch. And what's going to happen is, generally it's whatever the last app you played. So let's just make sure we're in the Retouch for Me new set, right? That's the new apps we created. And then there should be only 2 choices, 3 apps or 3 apps batch. We're going to click 3 apps batch. Then we need to find the folder we want to use. So we're going to go choose. Let's go, all right, desktop. Retouch for Me. I'm going to select this folder, Megan. So you can see Megan has got 27 photos in it. We're just going to select that folder and go choose. All right. Then under the destination, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to choose the folder. Retouch for Me, Megan, choose. All right, basically you don't need to touch any of these other things. Just make sure you're on the correct action, that you've chosen folder. The folder we're going to use is the Megan folder in the R4M, and the destination folder is exactly the same place. And then you just click OK. Now it's going to start the process. You're not going to see it happening. It pretty much happens in the background. But the 27 photos are only going to take about 10 minutes to do. Remember, it's like 20 seconds a piece to do these. So you create the batch, you play the batch, and you go make a sandwich. And by the time you're done eating the sandwich, all 27 photos are going to be retouched, ready to show the client. Okay, so now I'm going to show you both the retouched and the original versions of a few of the photos from this session. So this is the retouched version. This is the unretouched. Retouched, unretouched. You can see all the blemishes are gone. Next one, retouched, unretouched. Retouched, unretouched, retouched, unretouched. I'll zoom in on this one. Retouched, you can still see most of her freckles, but the blemishes are gone.
So that's what we have for you today. Remember, to get your discount on Retouch for Me filters, just click the link in the description below. Any that you purchase will automatically be discounted. Now, I hope you found this information helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and until the next video, take care.